Okay, so today we're going to be making our Christmas centerpiece. By the end, it should look a little something like this. You'll have the choice between a bow or a pine cone to put in the middle. I pre-cut a lot of my material just to make it go a little bit faster and so the video is not too long. I do want to show you that it's very important to, before you insert anything, you're going to want to take off the bottom half of these leaves so that you actually have something to insert into the foam. It's very important that you don't insert the leaves of any of the Christmas greens into the foam simply because it'll decay faster and make all of it die quicker. So I'm gonna start on the sides first and work my way up. It's just kind of what works best. This is meant to be more of an oblong design, meaning almost kind of like an oval or rectangle. So watch, I will talk about some things as I come across them and we should be good to go. First thing I'm gonna do is create the length of our arrangement. You're gonna wanna try to just use your best judgment, but it should be decently long. When inserting these, you're gonna wanna insert them right in the middle of the side of the foam, just like so. Again, make sure not to insert any leaves into the side. What you do to one side, you kind of want to do to the other. That makes this arrangement a little bit easier. It doesn't have to be identical, but it should be pretty symmetrical. Like I said, I've already pre-cut a lot of my material just to make this go smoother. When you get to these two sides right here, you want to make sure that they're not too long. Think about that long rectangular oblong look. That's why these pieces are shorter. I use these, they're very linear, so it helps me stay inside kind of that imaginary line I've created. These little ones with like the yellow on them and the very flimsy ones, their stem is very pokey. So when you go to pick off the leaves, make sure you just pull them off one at a time and you don't run your fingers down them because it's gonna hurt. I learned that the hard way. It's very important that you try to use all the different types of greenery. It gives it really good texture in the arrangement. I know that the most popular is gonna be your traditional looking Christmas greens, but it gets kind of boring with just those hanging around. Make sure you always cover your mechanics, so your tape and your foam. Your fingers will get kind of sticky, so just kind of be aware there. The material will start to stick to your fingers. This stuff is really great for covering a lot of material because it does, when you put it in and then you let go, it kind of fans out. So it covers a lot of surface area actually. We will be adding baby's breath to this arrangement. So as you're going, if you see a few small holes, don't worry about necessarily filling them. You will always, the baby's breath is a filler. So we can always go back and add in some of those to fill in our holes. As you may notice, I'm starting to kind of creep up the side. So I have this first layer right here, and this is gonna kind of create the layer that's gonna transition me to the top of my arrangement, which is gonna be very short. So I kind of do a layer in the middle of the foam, and then I come up to the crease of the foam right here, and kind of put a medium length layer to kind of make that transition upward. It's very important that you don't layer the greenery too heavy. When you get too many layers, you run out of space very quickly in your arrangement, and then things sit on top of each other, and it just doesn't end up looking real pretty. If you notice this one I just put in, it just came out a little long. These are great because you can just take your floral shears, trim a little bit off, and now it's the right length that stays inside of the shape we created. I try really hard to mix it up, not put a whole lot of the same material next to each other, just make sure a little bit of all the materials kind of everywhere. Give it that real pretty mixed greenery look. As I start to transition up to the top, you're never gonna put them straight up and down. You want that oblong length. So I actually insert these not flat, but at about a 45-degree angle. So that way I keep that shape going outward. Some material it's a little harder to do than with others, but overall it's gonna really help with that shape of your arrangement. And if you look, you can actually see how I just laid this big piece over. Under here, there's some green space, but because of the way I angled it, it covers the surface area of it, so you actually can't see underneath it. As you get closer to the center, you're going to want to keep in mind whether you want to pick a bow or the pine cone, because that's going to determine how far into the center you're actually going to put greenery. If you're doing the pine cone, this is a really good place to stop and go ahead and set your pine cone in there. See just how much space you need to fill in. I have some very small spaces, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and just grab my baby's breath and start placing this in some of my holes. Remember that baby's breath is a very, very heavy color, so it doesn't take a lot. A little bit goes a very long way. Make sure it's throughout your entire design and not in just random spaces. This is a great time to get eye level with your arrangement. I can still see some of my tape over here, so probably a good space to go ahead and insert some baby's breath in. And if you're gonna do the pine cone option, then this is a really good place to stop. I have some baby's breath everywhere. Everything's really full and really beautiful. If you are going to do the ribbon option, I'm going to do that next. I'm gonna pause the video so that I can go ahead and grab the ribbon that I need, and then I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I went ahead and laid out the materials for to make our bow. That's the option you want to go with. You're gonna need to cut a piece of ribbon that's about the wingspan from fingertip to fingertip across your chest, one piece of the 22 gauge wire, a wire pick, and cut 4 tails. I just kind of measured based off of how long my arrangement is from the center, and I cut 4 of them all the same size. I'm gonna do a crash course to review a bow since it's been a while. In this bow, make sure you make your loops all the same length. It just turns out really nice because eventually you're gonna spread them out and it's gonna give it that full look. So take your non-dominant hand, pinch the ribbon, thumb on the inside, fold it over. This is the nose of your bow, so only using these 2 fingers. You're gonna pinch and twist till you see the side of the ribbon, the pretty side of the ribbon. There's tons of ribbon to choose from, some one-sided, some two-sided. Whatever you pick is up to you. These are all wired ribbon, so it should be pretty easy to go ahead and manipulate the way you want it to be. Okay, once you're done, take your wire pick, insert the wire through the nose of your bow. Slide it up under your thumb inside the nose. Bring it around the back. Great time to have a partner if y'all want to help each other out. twist it, pinch and twist as tight as you can. Remember, you want that bow to be nice and snug. You don't want it coming undone when you go to spread everything out. Okay, twist like a bread tie. And then you're gonna wanna kind of roll the excess wire up on the pick. Great time to go ahead and spread out your loops on your bow. Like I said, it is wired ribbon, and as long as you wired that wire pick nice and snug, you shouldn't have a problem spreading out your loops. Okay. Once you're ready, you're gonna take that wire pick and try to put it in the center. You're gonna go ahead and put it in the center of your arrangement. Sometimes after you insert it, you still gotta manipulate the bow to make it look nice and full and pretty. Okay, next we're gonna create the 4 tails that come out on the side. You're gonna take that piece of 22 gauge wire, use your wire cutters, you're gonna cut this into 4s. Since you have 4 pieces of ribbon, cut it in half, and then cut those in half. Now you have 4 pieces of wire for your 4 pieces of ribbon. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna take your ribbon and you're gonna fold over one of the ends, it doesn't matter, just so it's a little thicker. If you don't fold it and you try to pierce it with this wire, it's gonna rip through the ribbon. So pierce it over there where it's folded. Pinch, like a bobby pin or a hairpin. And I just give mine a few twists to make sure the ribbon stays on there. These do need to be pretty long, because you're gonna lift up the end and they go tucked up under your bow inside the foam. Okay, so you're gonna do that to all 4 pieces. You're gonna take, fold, pierce it with the wire, pinch over, give it a few twists. I moved that piece because I actually cut it a hair shorter so it looks better up on the side. You're gonna wanna tuck it up under there, fold. Make sure not to get your finger on the other side. Once you get everything together, straighten it all out. And voila, you have a beautiful centerpiece for Christmas. And it smells really great.